Hello, everyone. My name is Joanne Lockwood, and I'm your host for the Inclusion Bites podcast. In this series, I will be interviewing a number of amazing people and simply having a conversation around the subject of inclusion, belonging, and generally making the world a better place for everyone to thrive. If you'd like to join me in the future, then please do drop me a line to joe.lockwood@teachangehappen.co.uk. That's S-E-E, changehappen.co.uk. You can catch up with all of the previous shows on iTunes, Spotify, and the usual places. So plug in your headphones, grab a decaf, and let's get going. Today is episode 21 with the title Planting a Seed of Kindness and Understanding. And I have the absolute honour and privilege to be joined by Ryals. Ryals described himself as a boy from a small town in Ukraine who had big dreams and refused to listen to anyone who told him otherwise. When I asked Ryals to describe his superpower, he said, being connected directly to the source of energy that his body is producing. Hello, Ryals. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Joanne. It is my pleasure to be here today. You said grab a decaf. I would grab coffee, just regular, and tons of it because it's still 9:30 in the morning in New York, and I definitely need some coffee to wake up. I am so honored to be here and to meet you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Today
We can't hit Starbucks. We've got to make our own today, haven't we?
We have to.
Still locked down.
Today is actually the first day in New York when it's a bit cloudy and the weather dropped to 13 degrees Celsius, which has made us even closer. I don't know how it is in UK right now, but it feels very autumn.
It's been a bit of a mini heat wave. We're about 22 degrees over here at the moment, which is what I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's in European measures, it's about 22, and it's actually quite nice for middle of September. Yeah,
very
nice.
Good. Nice. All right, so we exchanged a little. We got you the heat wave, and we got
you have.
Oh, nice.
You have, yeah.
Nice.
It's a very British conversation, talking about the weather.
I know. That's sorry, coffee and the weather.
Well, a Ukrainian in New York talking about the weather with a Brit.
I know. I have prepared. So let's talk about the weather. I know. Yeah.
So, God, tell me. I mean, in the show notes, you put this phrase in there: planting the seed of kindness and understanding. So, what does that mean to you? Where did that come from?
I'll start with my father. My father was my stepfather, but he raised me from when I was 1.5 years old. And my father, he passed away in 2013. But he was the one who was that spiritual person in my life who would always told me things so wisely and so subtle that I think that was planting a seed in me, in that kid who did not understand what is he saying, but in years that seed would grow into a big tree and a big forest. And I think he was the one who planted kindness and love and compassion and empathy to the whole entire world and to the people I know, to friends and family. And I still recall his words in every step of the way in my life. And I think he was the one. He was the one who started that process in me, turning that little boy into a man with understanding. So I was growing up being gay in Ukraine, growing up in the closet, under the pressure of society and under the pressure of my own friends and family who, would joke around, would shame, not me, because I wouldn't let myself. Since I was 13, I said to myself, no more. I have to create this shield. I have to be, as straight as possible. I have to be as smart as possible, as wise as possible, as kind as possible, to just by having this shield, show people that you're not gonna get me, so you don't even have to try. Um, and the shield was growing over the years, over 10 years of my life, when I would not recognize myself anymore, and I thought that this is me. I guess I shaped myself into who I am, even though this is a completely different person, and now I'm having troubles with myself, troubles living my life. Um, but yet I still had a dream to change it, to change, my surroundings, to change my life, because this is my life and I have to build it. Um, that's when I moved to the United States and started my new journey, the journey of who I really am. And still with the words of my father in my heart, that you'll make it, you're the kindest person I know, and yeah, that everything's gonna be okay, even though you don't have the answers now. Keep going, carry on.
That must have been a real moment in your life when you made that decision to leave your hometown, your family, your friends, and ship yourself off to New York. I mean, even though the world's a smaller place than it today than it was 30, 40 years ago, that's still a big deal, isn't it? To go from one culture that is significantly different to another culture, isn't it? And alone, effectively. And
Yeah, absolutely. I always had I don't know if that's the movies that shaped me, that shaped my brain, that there's a better life somewhere, or just the longing inside that if I don't belong to this place, I'm sure there is a place on earth right now where I could find myself. Um, and I always had this, New York was like my North Star that I would always see somewhere. I didn't know what's behind it. I didn't know what's there, but it was sort of a direction for me to go. And when you have when you have hope in your heart, you can go through the most difficult experiences in your life.
hmm,
Just because you know that somewhere, you believe that somewhere there is a solution, or you just have a sense of direction where you have to go. So when I was 18, my family and like me, we didn't have any money, any big money. So nobody would even, dream of flying somewhere, not moving somewhere. Um, and here was me, 13 years old. I'm like, when I'm going to be 18, I'll travel the world. I'll be trying to move to America. I'll be in New York. I'll start my life. And that's where nobody nobody would even think that that would be possible. So nobody would find those words that, yeah, you just believe in yourself. You just carry on, except my father um, before very the end, we would have that conversation and he would say how much he believes in me. But nobody until then was like, yeah, you're going to make it. Even though that seemed ridiculously hard, nobody would find the words to encourage that. So that's where you had to, shape yourself into this strong person with self motivation, with seeing that North Star, even in a cloudy day, just knowing it's there, even if you can see it now, you just know it's there and the cloud's going to move and you're going to see it again. And when I was 18, I said to my mom, all right, well, I'm 18 now. In the summer, there's a program called Work and Travel. I think I'm going to travel to the United States and see how it goes. And that's where my mom freaked out. she actually found out that that was real. She actually found out that my words that I was saying and preparing her for 5 years, that they were real. And she cried. She started crying. She's like, what do you mean? How is it possible? Why? And I worked hard, a few jobs during my university years, and I had a scholarship. So I just, you know, gathered all my money together, borrowed some money, and was able to pay for that program. I still don't know how, but it happened. I just wanted it so much that nothing could stop me. Um, and there I am crying on the plane when we are landing in the United States. Um, yeah, facing new challenges, I think, that will shape me into a person that I am right now. Uh, but that's where the journey begins of, yeah, me sort of re-evaluating my life and finding a way to live your true life. And though
Mm.
it will happen 5 years later, but I think that would be, a hook in my brain that will start a completely new process of thoughts. Um,
Had you travelled much before, or was this your first venture across the Atlantic?
I think I traveled to Hungary when I was 12 with the group of my dancing group. We attended a competition. That was my first abroad trip. And then no, I don't, yeah, I think that was my first trip and right across Atlantica. Yeah. And then,
Wow. So,
then I came back and I traveled a little around Europe, uh, sort of with a backpack, like with
yeah.
yeah, hitchhiking. That was amazing. That was great experience. The cheapest hotels, the car from town to town, from Budapest to Vienna, from Vienna to Graz, from Graz to Venice. It was beautiful. Um, but yeah, my first trip was straight 9 hours on a plane.
Wow. So this was no kind of like, this is going to be okay. I've done it before. This is like literally pack your bag, get on a plane, see what happens.
I know.
Absolutely.
It's just
Yeah. Brilliant.
there's this magnet that just like pulling you in, and you're not resisting. You're just following it. Follow that.
So you weren't going with any plan as such other than to land and see what happens.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I was thinking that if I do it through the program, I'll at least have a job and I'll have
Yeah.
a place to stay, so I'm not completely lost because
No.
still being in Ukraine, you're in the bubble, and you're a kid. Like you're still a kid. You don't have much experiences, being abroad or dealing with I don't know paying the bills and finding places to stay or finding a job in a different country. So I was a little secure about that, but I wanted to experience how is it here? Who are those people?
Mm.
What do we eat? What do we say? What do we watch? So that was my first touch with the culture, and I met a family by the pool. I worked as a lifeguard. I met a family by the pool. I met a cat first. I met their cat. And she was a three-color cat, just like I did. I did have at home, and then this woman appears in front of me, and she's like, "I really hope she will not bother you. This is Ginger. She will come to the pool very often. Will live right there." And she was the first person that I met. And how many years later? 7 years later, that lady walked me down the aisle because my mom couldn't make it to the wedding here. And Diane, yeah, we are all connected now. We're all a big family,
Yeah.
but that's how it all began.
What an amazing story. What an amazing story. So you would have been in Ukraine as a young person at the time of the revolution and the time of all the trouble there. Because I was in, as I think I mentioned to you earlier, I was in Kiev last year. I think it was last year. And just hearing the stories and seeing what had gone on less than 10 years ago, I mean, 7 or 8 years ago, so you're 25 now, you would have been 17, 18 at the time, would you?
Yeah, yeah, same year as I came back from the States. I think it started in, I might be wrong, but November, somewhere close to winter. Yeah, first of all, it's amazing that you visited Ukraine. I hope you liked Kiev.
Yeah,
I
I did.
haven't been
Yeah.
to UK yet, but that's one of the dreams of mine. definitely gonna visit you. Maybe we'll grab coffee
Yeah,
somewhere
I'd love to.
when
Love to.
hope the
Yeah,
pandemic is over by then.
yeah.
Yes, revolution started so sudden, I'd say. But during that time, we were attending university, and in the Independence Square, where everything would take action, it was right above the subway that we would go to study. And a lot of the times they would just close the subway because there's a chance that there's a bomb or something. So we would have to go around and find another way to get home. But it was scary for sure. People were on their feet. People were driven by the force because it is hard to just make it through life in poverty, in being suppressed, and just when people have that drive, even if they don't know completely what they're doing, but they just finally, stand up on their feet and they're protesting because that's their lives and they want to change. That's when it happens. It doesn't happen often. You see that there's not much changed in Ukraine and people are still protesting, but it's not as big because a lot of us just give up and be like, I can make it through the day, so I'll make it through the week. I can make it through the week, then I'll
Mm.
make it through a year. It's fine. That completely does not touch me. I'll be just fine. So yeah, it was a big thing, and Crimea was separated from us. Very very beautiful place. Very beautiful place. I've been there also by myself. Traveled. Amazing, beautiful, beautiful place. Um, People just stopped going there as often. Um, Now everybody's going to Odessa. Odessa is overwhelmed by
Okay.
so many people. But you know, whatever happens, happens. It's not always in our power to change, but whatever we can, we can.
So my limited experience of Ukraine for my week long visit there, you've got the East Ukraine and West Ukraine, where the eastern side is more Russian speaking, the western side is less Russian speaking, and there's a kind of like a east west divide within Ukraine itself, isn't there?
There is. It's not. I was sort of in the capital, right? I was a small town right besides Kiev, so my family was a Russian-speaking family. I speak fluently Russian and fluently Ukrainian, and I don't like to mix them together as a lot of people do, and creating their own language, which is, if you're not from Ukraine or you're learning Ukrainian or Russian, you will not get. So um, there is there is two parts of Ukraine, as you said. That's correct, but personally, I did not feel that the difference, sort of like if you're in West Ukraine, yes, everybody's speaking Ukrainian, which is it is Ukraine, so it is your language. You know what I mean? And if you are in the east of Ukraine, everybody's speaking Russian, which I do speak Russian. We all speak Russian because Soviet Union broke up not so long ago, so our parents were still born there, and obviously they spoke Russian, so they're sort of like took the position, okay, I know Russian, I'll learn Ukrainian, I'll speak both, but this is the country and I'll respect that. So I'm sure there are people, as everywhere, probably in every country, where the point of view is completely different and they will stand by it without the exception of one another, for sure. My friends and my family wasn't one of those people. Thank God, so I cannot speak from the experience of the protesting side. But yes, it is there, and it's part of the nation, for sure.
Mm. I was fortunate enough to go to Poland in Gdansk probably about 15 years ago, and I had the immense privilege to meet Lech Wałęsa, who is often credited for being maybe the start of the end of communism in some parts of Europe, and
Wow.
instrumental in bringing down the Berlin Wall and starting that movement. And such an iconic figure. But to hear the stories of people who are my friends in Poland, because I went there with some friends who lived there, they were actually part of that solidarity movement. They were imprisoned by the police. They were kept in solitary confinement, beaten, and people didn't know where they were. So that whole revolution experience, talking to my Polish friends at the time, was very powerful. But then to come to Kiev and hear the stories of in Independence Square with the snipers on the roof, learning about the people who are shot down in a crowd. These were just ordinary people out for the day shopping or whatever they're doing, in a country that I felt was so typically European. When I visited Kiev, it seemed very, very Western and normal to me, whatever normal may mean. So it felt really strange to be somewhere where there'd been so much trouble and violence less than 5 or 6 years ago. And that really was powerful to read the stories and see the candles and see the photographs of those people who died that day, and see the legacy of the monuments in Independence Square, with all the pictures of what was going on at those times, was immensely powerful. And I defy anyone to go there and not feel the emotional connection with the stories. And it would take a very hard person not to feel a tear or feel some sadness for what went on. And it reminds us all that we live in this world where that still happens. It's still happening now in many countries in the world, and it's not just even some of the more westernized countries don't have the same trouble. We have troubles in riots in America. There's still the Black Lives Matter, and so still people are fighting oppression, aren't they, all over the world?
Absolutely. That's one of the stories that we are trying to share, me and my husband, to people even here and to our friends and to our families, that because as I moved to New York, and a year after when I moved to New York, and people were asking me, you're gay, right? I'm like, yeah. And it was so hard for me to overcome, years and years of shame and suppression, that I think I would blush saying that, yes, I am like a child, because I think I was a child in this field. I was coming out so slow and learning to walk. And a year after, I think I've so much anger was like just bursting out of me, because I couldn't live a life that I sort of was given. That I had to come out to my mom, to my brother, to my friends, and it was the hardest thing to do. But I felt like, there was a wall that was getting higher and higher between me and my mom, because of not acceptance, of me not accepting myself, me not accepting my mom, and I felt like mom's not accepting me, so I had to just break it down and make that wall to fall. So the last conversation we had, I was flying to California watching the movie Love, Simon, which is I thought like, oh, a cliche. All right, he's coming out. So what? The jealousy was talking in me, and I watched this movie. I was completely crying, always crying on the planes. If you see me on a plane and I'm watching a movie, I'm gonna cry, because it's always drama. I flew to see my friend in California, and I had a feeling like this is the day that I'm going to talk to my mom. We had a conversation. I couldn't say a word, and then we got into a fight again. And then I'm like, this is it. Like, I hung up, and I'm like, we're not going anywhere anymore. I can't share my life with her. And my life is starting, booming here, because I came out here and I'm living and I'm being myself. And I texted her, I need to talk to you. She's like, all right, like, call me back. I call her back. I FaceTime her, and I started crying little by little. I'm like, Mom, you know, as I would put it, as people in Ukraine say, you're not a traditional orientation. which she would say right away, "What is traditional?" I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is weird, hearing it from my mom. And then I'm like, Mom, I'm gay. She's like, well, she said, you cannot, change my life. I cannot change yours. And if you're happy, then she would go into a phase for a year into sort of like back and forth. It's like, you had such a nice friend, your girlfriend, like that would be so nice if you were guys together. I'm like, Mom, I'm literally getting married. Like, what are we talking about right now? But then she loves my husband. She now never asks me how am I. She's asking how are you guys? How's everything?
Oh,
It's very sweet. Very sweet. So I
that
took
must
this.
have been really magical for you, where all that apprehension, all of that nervousness, and then to
And
find that almost undying motherly affection and acceptance must have been fantastic.
I know. And then I had to find an acceptance for myself again and not be angry at the world and not be angry for all the years that I've sort of lost and didn't have, a school dance with the person I liked, or didn't have dates, or didn't have whatever all the teenagers had. Still working on that, I think, but psychologists really helped. I had to unravel
Yeah.
my brain completely because I said I'm not moving forward. I've completely stopped. But still, it's been 3 years and my life has changed completely, completely. And it's almost easy to forget that you're living in New York in this bubble, and when everything is great, well, acceptance wise,
Yeah.
and you forget that you're still from Ukraine, and there's still no gay people. Not some of them are coming out, but I know a lot of people that are gays and they're still in the closet and will never appoint, to themselves as gay people. And that's Ukraine. That's the country I'm coming from. But what about 72 other countries and 13 countries where being gay is punishable by death, and countries where you're getting thrown into jail because you're gay, and somebody will be thrown into a jail if they don't tell on you, if they know. And that's what we are
Yeah.
trying to raise awareness about and continue
Well, we're
fighting
seeing it
for.
now seeing it now, aren't we? In Poland, in
Yes,
Hungary,
yes,
they're winding back regimes now where LGBT acceptance was more positive, and now Poland, there's an anti-LGBT agenda.
yeah.
I think is Hungary where it's anti-trans legislation being put in. Uh,
And Russia,
Belarus,
when they just
yeah,
accepted the amendments to the constitution, yes, where, the marriage is only between a man and a woman, which was always there, but now they established. So if you are married in another country and you're coming back to Russia, you don't have any rights. You don't have any spouse privilege. And it's happening now, as we say.
mm.
We live in 2020, and it is happening everywhere. Something is happening when you would say, we're in 21st century, and we've seen so much in our history, or we've learned so much, and yet we still have so much to learn and so much to do and so much to fight for, unfortunately. But
No, for sure. I mean, when I went to Ukraine, I was nervous. I used my Western bias, if you like, assuming that it was going to be dark, horrible, and I was going to be at risk. And I spoke to the conference organisers. I was speaking at a conference there, and they assured me that, hey, no, this is cosmopolitan. This is full of this part of Ukraine is full of Western companies, Facebook and Twitter and big companies like that. You'll be fine. No, don't worry about it. And I thought, okay. And to be honest, when I was there, I had a completely positive experience. There's a few times where I had men walk straight through me, but I think that's more of a sexism thing than a LGBT thing. Where I was standing in the supermarket and I was expected to just get out of the way of men as they walked past me or through me. And I found that very much on the streets as you're walking along, there's a very much a misogynistic attitude that women get out of the way of men, and men are just coming through, and they don't even look at you. They just get out of my way, sort of thing. So I found that a bit strange. Just kind of the attitude of of right of way, if you like. And I realise it's quite a male dominated sort of kind of do as you're told sort of society.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's apart from those kind of little moments, I found I had no concerns at all. I mean, I had a very similar experience in Estonia, in Tallinn. I had complete acceptance there, speaking at conferences, talking to people. It wasn't an issue. But I am a bit nervous about ever going to Moscow or back to Gdansk or even Budapest. You know, I'm now thinking, do I put those on my no-fly list because it's not safe places to go anymore, are they?
Yeah, that's true. I am very happy that you had a pleasant experience in Ukraine. So
Yeah.
happy. Ukraine is changing for sure. The kids that we were, it's a new generation that is there. The teenagers or pre-adults when we were kids, they were much tougher on, on bullying. And thank God it's changing now. And I hope for the better that, every generation will bring something bright and delightful into the culture. But, as we said, that Eastern and Western Ukraine still sort of divided. There was so much going on the territory of that country. Western was always Poland was fighting for that side, Russia was fighting for that side, or Russian Empire before Russia itself, and it was always always a war, always divided. The World War I, World War II, like everything was happening on that land, and so many
Mm.
people and intelligent people were killed, and here we are left, sort of the slaves of the situation, left and decided, not decided, but were forced to, just live now and develop our nations on our own, and we didn't have much of a brain capacity, if that would be smart.
Because I mean, you mentioned Poland just there, and Russia, and from a UK perspective, we didn't learn much about Eastern Europe history and the rise and the cultures in Eastern Europe. But when I was in Kiev, I learned that Poland were effectively your nemesis. They were your invaders, and so Poland were your old adversary, weren't they, from the Ukraine? And we
Right.
never knew any of that. Yeah,
That's what they taught us.
yeah.
We weren't there. We couldn't see.
No,
But they
no.
told us.
But
So
it made me realise that we only hear the history that we hear. We don't necessarily get taught about the rest of the world. And so I'm living in this very UK educated world, and I haven't learned about the history of Ukraine. And I mean, you can't learn everything. I appreciate, but it suddenly made me realise that I've got this very narrow view of the world that I see, and it makes me more hungry to find out about other cultures and about other people's history to understand the lived experience and why people
yeah, I guess that's
experience
how.
the world they do.
I guess that's how the world is getting divided by, not being hungry as we are to learn, but being stubborn and closed up in their opinion and just the history and just the information they know. And, they've learned just that much about that piece of the country or piece of the world, and they're standing by it, not accepting what was going on, and what is the opinion, for example, of the other country, even if two countries were in war, what that country learned and the other one, it's a completely different history. So
Mm.
acceptance, and one more time, acceptance into everything in our lives. And for
Oh,
me,
for sure. I mean, let's talk about some of the happiest stuff in your life. How you're now spreading this, as you put it, this seed to build a forest of love and acceptance in the world, and you're doing that through music, through dance, through your creative side.
yeah, I was.
So
Oh, sorry.
you mentioned you were involved with the Eurovision Song Contest. So you wrote some lyrics. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, I started writing songs since I was 13. I think that's the moment when you're creating a shield, but then you still have to talk it out. So you start writing poetry and you start writing songs and putting all your emotions in there and all your pain in there. And it's sort of like your sacred place. And I was writing in Russian. When I was 16, I started learning English and I started writing in English. And, started writing for myself. And when I was 18, when I was 19, okay, that was 20. When I was 20, I recorded already two of my own songs. And then as I go on in 23, I released an album of mine. It's called State of Liberty. And I was like, listen, I'm enjoying writing songs. How cool that would be to write for somebody else and, have some compensation for it. And also, why not?
Mm.
Yeah, that was one of the dreams of mine. And then in 2000, no idea, 4 years ago, 16,
Sometimes President. Yeah.
sometimes 16, I departed on, I landed a job. Well, I fought for the job to be a dancer on a cruise line. And we traveled the world and we actually crossed the Atlantic once again on a boat. Incredible experience. And I was a dancer. I worked as a dancer in a show on the cruise ship for 7 months. And during that time, a manager of Ukrainian artists contacts me. We sort of like met each other somewhere before. And she's like, he's looking to, record songs in English. Would you help him with writing lyrics? I'm like, oh my God, absolutely. Yes. And I think the first song was for Eurovision, for the competition, but a year before he went. And ever since we started working with him, I am actually in a process of writing new lyrics for the new song of his. But he didn't make the cut the first year to the Eurovision, so he carried on with creating an album and more music, and I worked on most of the songs with him. And then a year later, he's like, "All right, we're gonna try it again. Let's write another song for the Eurovision." And he did an incredible job. I was happy to be a part of it, and he made the cut. He went to Eurovision, put out a beautiful, beautiful performance, and made it to the finals. And all in all, it was great to see our names together listed on the screen in Eurovision and him as a songwriter, me as a lyricist. It was beautiful, incredible. And Ukraine, I was here, living here already, and Ukraine was watching and screenshotting, everything what was going on there. Like, oh my God, did you write this song? Did you write this song? I'm like, not the song, lyrics, but yes, thank
Lyrics.
you. It was
Wow.
wonderful. My grandparents were very, very happy.
Because lyrics and songs are just a way of storytelling, telling future generations, telling the people who listen to you, your truth, your story, your message. And through that, you can spread love or hate or whatever message you want to share. And I'm hearing that you're using your lyrics, your music, as a way of empowering the younger generation to live more freely and to show more acceptance to the world. Is that
Oh my God.
that's what you're saying? Is it? Yeah.
This has been my goal since I started writing. But I still seen this as a goal. But at the same time, I was dealing with my own pain and my own experience that I had to not outgrow, but experience and live through it. And now, as I'm 25, I finally have the feeling that I've been there. I actually been there, and I'm here now. I've changed my life completely. I moved to the States. I'm living here. I got married. I came out, and now I'm ready to not just speak my truth, but also to encourage those kids as I was once. And when you are 13, the world is still so hard on you. When you're 25, the world is hard on you. When you're 60, the world is hard. But when you're 13, you don't have much experience to deal with it. And that's where you're looking for that out there, somewhere. And when I was 13, when I was 16, when I was going through my first falling in love, and not
Mm.
breaking out of love, but sort of breaking up, not even being together, because I fell in love with a guy the first time, and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know who to tell. I didn't know what to do with the feelings that I'm experiencing, and that's where I got into I had two depressions in my life for a year that time, and when my dad passed away. And that time, I realized that if I don't pull myself out of there, um, nobody's going to. That's where I was looking for anybody to tell me anything, that I'm just going to be okay. That's where Lady Gaga really helped with her message, and I appreciate her for that so much. Um,
Mm.
there were so many people that have been doing it, but who made it to Ukraine, who made the cut to be screening and being on the radio. And then when you Google her contents and what is she saying, you hear that message and you know that, okay, so it is happening. It is true that there's the people do not accept sometimes people, and that's not okay, but it is what it is. But you still can make it, and you can change your life for the better, and just keep going. And I want to be one of those people who, if there's going to be one 13 or 16 years old who's going to listen to my message once, and that's going to change his life, I will be the happiest person on earth, because I realized one thing. I'm 25 and life is better now for me. And I thought that life is better for everybody right now. As just looking through my perspective, I'm like, look at that 16 years old. He looks like he's got it. He's got it all. Like, he figured it out. Like, I couldn't, but it's not true. It's not true. Some people didn't. Some people are still teenagers that need a lot of help to guide them through until they're in a better place. So my music and my storytelling through music videos, which we finally, I'm so happy we just shot one this past weekend. We shot a music video, and I'm continuing working on more meaningful and more storytelling songs, which My Days is sort of a breakthrough for me, completely different from State of Liberty album, which was based on me dealing with my pain of loss. And My Days is sort of dealing with the world that was thrown at me, and I had to grow up and find my
Mm.
place. And now the song that I'm working on, called Great Society, which starts with, I've been told all my life there's no place for me to be. Things like me don't survive in the great society. I have lived all my life hiding for the sake of life. Had no rights to decide whether I had my right. So yeah, I'll continue fighting for people, because we
Yeah.
are all the same at the core, and we all need help, and we all need acceptance and love.
Yeah, there's this. I mean, the other lyrics you sent me was, "We plan this life like there's tomorrow, like there's no injuries or death, like there's no room for sorrow, like I'll kiss your face in the morrow, subconsciously avoiding the mess." Very powerful. Yeah, giving people inspiration that there's we got to try and look in the positive. We've got to be there for each other. We've got to avoid the negatives sometimes, and push forward with all the positives in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if we are making a change in our lives, we still need a lot of help and a lot of support. So to be kind is the message. To be kind, and to be empathetic. You never know what's going on with a person that's standing or sitting next to you. My mom actually planted that seed in me. She was like, she was telling me from the very, very beginning of my life, just imagine how would the other person feel. And that message was so strong when I would do anything bad. And I will, oh my God, that kid, thank God for my parents. I don't know how they dealt with me. But I was trying. I didn't know what the world was. I was just like having fun. And sometimes having fun doesn't mean you're not hurting anybody. And that's what I always say. You can do in your life whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody else in any way. And yeah, she would always say, just imagine how would other person feel, and it would plant such a strong seed that grew into even a bigger forest of compassion, that I would never on purpose do anything to hurt anybody in any way. And
Mm.
that gives me that ache for every person in the world on our planet, because we're all trying to make it. We're all trying to survive, all trying to eat, to sleep in a warm place. We're all trying to escape persecution in any way. We're all just trying to be happy and to find a better life for ourselves, because most of us live in poverty. Most of us, trying to make it from a paycheck to a paycheck, or even just trying to find where to get the paycheck, where to get a
Mm.
penny, where to get the dollar to just feed your family. And my mom would always struggle, would always come back home, would always count every penny, write those bills, and lots of the time would cry, not knowing how to make it. And I only understood it. I saw it always. I'm like, Mom, don't cry. But I only understood it when I just moved to the States. And I knew if I don't make the dollar, I'm not going to be able to pay the rent. I don't have anybody who's going to help me with the rent. So if I don't pay the rent, I'll be homeless in a country that is still new to me. If I don't make extra dollar, I will not eat. So most of the time I would get through the day just with one sandwich. And then I called my mom and I said, Mom, I finally understand you. And I still do not understand how still every night you go to bed thinking how you're going to feed your family tomorrow. So I try to help my family as much as possible, but it's most of us, it's a lot of people.
Yeah. I was just hunting around on the internet there, and I found your track "My Days," and found it on Amazon Music. So
Sweet are you?
I'm gonna have to download that and listen to that afterwards. And so yeah, it must be. It's a big deal. You're a proper music artist, aren't you? You've got a career. I mean, I love it. I love in the cover. That artwork is that you with the. I'm guessing it is you. Yeah, I can see you in there. Yeah, so that's you with the clouds on your eyes.
It is totally me.
Yeah,
Totally seen that idea somewhere. So I borrowed it, made it a little different, but I love the sky covering the face. And yeah, I had this idea, and the track was already ready. I had to upload it to the internet for it to come out on a specific date. And I told my husband, John, I'm like, all right, could you please take a picture of me that's going to be on the cover of the song? He's like, sure. And I put a lamp behind my back. I threw a napkin on it, so it created this beautiful sunset color behind my back. And before the napkin got on fire, we took a few pictures that I then cropped and edited and put a sky on my face and sent
yeah,
it to my friend who just wrote Ryals My Days. And here he goes. I'm like, oh my God, I
yeah.
love it. It's like, it's so nice.
Just like you just had a workout, you kind of got this nice sort of
Oh yeah, yeah.
glossy, yeah, sort of like
He's like, all right, you ready? I'm like, wait, wait,
perspiration.
wait.
This purple, yeah,
Yeah. My husband was like, you ready? I'm like, wait, 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 wait. So I need to spray myself.
yes, that's right.
uh, yeah,
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 yeah.
Mister.
No, it's a great photo. I mean, it's beautiful. It's yeah. I want to see the one without the clouds now. I want to see the full shot. So we
Oh, I'll
have
have
to
to
send me
send
that
it to
one.
you. Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah,
send it
just
to you.
put it in the show notes.
Yeah, I
So
hope.
if you've got big plans, you know, this is just the beginning of your music and dance career and songwriting career. So if you've got big ambitions, I mean, I know you've got big ambitions. You've upped sticks and flown across the world. Arrived in New York, you're not going to be beaten. So what do you? What's your mission? Are you working with record producers, or are you in shows? I appreciate COVID and lockdown has probably put a bit of a dent on it for a while. But what are your ambitions? Are we going to see you headlining with Lady Gaga at some point?
Oh my God, that'd be a dream. I would just like to meet her to tell her thank you very much for guiding a lot of us through.
Mm.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have tears in my eyes. I had my dance and singing career, or just my life, since the very beginning. I was very artsy. I would sing from since I was like 4. I would have concerts and at my dad's work. Uh, I would come. My mom would put me on a chair, and everybody would stop work, and I would sing a whole concert of 40 minutes to everybody. And then I was singing and dancing at 12. As I said, we went to Hungary for a dance competition. Then after school, I enrolled into art academy to get my acting degree in acting, and then as an acting teacher as well. Then I got into musical theater in Ukraine and was there for 2 years. Then I embarked on this journey on the boat around the world dancing, and they held the rehearsals in New York. So it was a great comeback. After 3 years, I came back, um, and then I came back home. I recorded the whole album that I already put together on the ship. I'm like, all right, this is the time. I have to take this first step as a recording artist because I am in my head for 10 years, but I have to actually do it. Um, and then three months I'm recording an album, and then I'm departing on even bigger journey because I'm going to New York and see how that goes. And so much have happened during like my life already. Before that, I was always in a rush. I was always trying to get out of where I was. I was trying to, you know, make my life more real for me and not hiding behind anything anymore. And dance and sing and act and dance and sing and act, and always switching cultures, switching countries, switching languages, like switching people that surrounding me, friends and family. Not that I've switched completely, but now they're behind, 7 hours ahead of me. So we're always on the phone. And that's why I had to start working with a psychologist, because I just said to her, this is a lot. Like, I don't even know what my dream is anymore. I think I've just ran so far that I don't know where I am. So for 2 years, I sort of like took a huge break from everything artsy. I was just trying to survive and working lots of jobs and getting to know the culture and people, and making that feel like home from scratch. So as I started working with the psychologist, I started working with music consultant from Nashville. I said to him, "Listen, I haven't done anything in 2 years. This is me. Here I am. I've been writing some music, but I don't even know what to do with it anymore." And I started working with a psychologist at the same time. And I said, "I don't know what my dream is anymore." And it's been 4 months, and I have never felt so good, because I see my dream again. establish myself as a person on the other side, sort of. I'm not the person who needs help. I'm the person who can give help. Either it's a word, either it's some financial fundraising that my husband does such a good job with that because we're partnered with Rainbow Railroad organization that we met about a year ago. Organization located in Canada has some office here in the States, and they help LGBTQI people escape persecution physically. They trying to get them a visa. They trying to get them a flight ticket. They trying to help them to establish themselves in another country. They constantly need money constantly because to transfer one person from a country to a country, it's a minimum $13,000, a minimum, and they receive so many letters with, "Please, I need help. I don't know how to carry on with my life." Um, and I found myself that this is it. I have changed my life, and now I can try and help somebody else. So this where the music is not just spilling out my emotions. That's where the music is the voice of me and of many, many other people that feel that. They don't express it in music or words, but they feel that. And I want to be the voice of us, of those people, of of all of us. So that's where the music became my voice now. And now I know what to do with it and where to go. So I'm very blessed, very happy to work on the music again. My Days was out a few weeks ago. Now we shot a music video. Now we are recording Great Society, and we'll put together the EP hopefully by winter. And there's so many more plans for spring with the new music, and hopefully the pandemic will be over soon. So partnering with GAB organization, which is Generation Against Bullying, me and a few other artists will depart on a school tour around the country and performing and talking to kids about, you know, kindness and love and support and no bullying allowed. And
Amazing, amazing.
helping
Yeah.
prevent any suicidal thoughts. And there's so much to do. As me and my husband always say, so much to do. So
So you must look at your life today versus the life in Ukraine that you could have had, and there's no comparison really, is there? I mean, you must love your parents, your family, your country of birth, where you were brought up, that culture, but you've gained so much acceptance in America in your new life that this must be a real hard for your brain to sort of say to still love your country because you're so embraced where you are now, and you can't necessarily be yourself at home, can you? Your birth home.
right. That's something I talk about with my psychologist about because my first sessions were sorry for sharing very personal things. My first sessions were I'm like I couldn't find my life in Ukraine, and what if here I will not be complete person as well because my family is there. Like how does it work? Like where does one find peace? I was very confused. Um, I think I found peace. I think I'm very happy with my family being there, with me being here. Um, Cannot wait to visit them. Absolutely. I think that would be a new phase in my life when we are seeing each other. And I'm seeing my friends, and definitely. Um, but I went through so many phases in my life where, as growing up, so you're that 13 years old boy, and you do not understand why the whole world is against you, which the whole world is your country and your surroundings. You don't know any other experiences, so you do not understand. So I was hating my country. I was hating people. I had so much hate that I just did not understand why. Why just literally the question why. Um, and then I've come to realize, I think after I visited States and I came back and my dad passed away, and there was that year of grief. And as I was coming out of that year of depression, I realized I don't hate my country. I think it's all for a reason. Um, I think that is making me stronger. Thank God it didn't break me, but it is making me stronger. And and it's time to move on. I'm thankful for all the experience and how I grew up, because maybe I appreciate other experiences now more. Um, and here, I actually do have the opportunity of be myself and be the voice, because honestly, I don't know if I personally, me, would be able to do it in Ukraine. Uh, some people do, some people do not, and I'm very, very proud and happy for people who can, because they're even maybe stronger than me. They fighting in the zone of war, and I'm fighting from sort of a safe place, let's say. But I had to gain this feeling of safety to be able to carry on with my message.
Yeah, so through love, through peace, you're spreading your message rather than through arms and struggle.
Yes.
So yours are more peaceful. So not only have you found peace, you found a passion and you found a purpose to your life
Oh my
that you
God, so
didn't have
much.
before. So all those things come together to make life have meaning for you.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. I always had a feeling that, once I'll be the voice. I'm 14, I'm 15. Once I'll be the voice. You know, I'm sure the pain that I experienced, a lot of people do, but I couldn't. I couldn't because I was in pain. And if you're in pain, I don't think you can help somebody unless you overcame it and you have the word of kindness to say you're gonna make it too. It's not gonna be easy, but you're going to. We all do. Um,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, you need to remove your own pain to a certain point before you can help others, because if you're not careful, you end up mixing your pain with their pain. You've got to kind of be in that comfortable position where you find yourself first before you can help others.
yeah, you're
So
absolutely
this
right.
this small town boy from Ukraine, just outside of Kiev, a Harry Potter fan,
Oh, huge.
and ended up in New York, living the dream, writing music, having a song as part of the Eurovision. Uh, this must be kind of at the age of 12 or 13. You couldn't have predicted everything you've had. You may have felt you wanted it, but you couldn't see it until you did it, could you?
Yeah, that's true. And then that is absolutely true. And when you did it or we do it, then you're looking back at that boy at 13, and then
Yeah.
you tell yourself, "Oh my God, wait! So I am living a dream, despite all the struggle, despite anything that life throws at you. It is life, but you
Mm.
are living a dream." Yeah, that's true.
It's your life, nobody else's, and you've taken control and owned it, and you're doing it for yourself for the
That's
benefit of others as well. Yeah.
yeah.
So you still got family back in the Ukraine. I mean, do you have brothers or sisters?
I have a younger brother. Yeah, he's 20 now. Yeah.
20. Wow. Is he going to follow you, or is he finding his own life in Ukraine? Has he got his own mission?
I think he is right at the moment of figuring out what is the position in life he's going to take. What is his life? Because he was 13. I was 18. He was 13 when dad passed away. And yeah, and we are different. Definitely, I cannot compare our lives at all. I wish him, you know, the happiest life ever, but he gonna have to create it on his own. And I'm always there for him, to help him, to motivate him as much as I can every day, anytime. Love him to death. But I think right now he's at the moment where he has to work. He is forced to work because there's no money, so you have to have money. But you still you're still 20. You're just 20, and the whole life is
Mm.
ahead of you. And I just want to plant that seed in his head that you don't have to work that work. You can try a million different jobs before you find yourself. Because he found that what he does right now, it's not exactly the purpose of life, and it does not make him happy. So, but he needs to expand his bubble to
Yeah.
see other experiences, to see other and countries and people and everything, and then decide what he wants to do. It doesn't have to be, if he cannot do it, otherwise, like, I want to do this and I'll pursue it. Then try a million things and then pick one.
Mm. Oh, that's so powerful. You can have a million different jobs. You can have a million different lives.
That is so
And
true.
I think often we're told we have to make a decision and stick with it. But actually, no, we can try something out and say,
At any point,
I'm free. I can change. I don't need to be living by some rule. I can
absolutely.
find my own freedom, find my own direction. So that's very powerful. It's a
And
great takeaway.
it's the
That,
hardest to do when the only people that influence you are your parents, because you're still little,
mm,
and your parents tell you that, find a job, make money, be safe, stick
mm,
to it, don't change anything. And when you grow up with that every day, you're hearing that, of course, your body is going to be like, wait, so is that true? Do I have to live by that truth? What if that does not
mm,
make me happy? Do I still have to stick to it? And it's hard, even if you have a person or you find a person who tells you otherwise. You actually can follow your dreams. You actually can do whatever you want. If you don't have a dream, you'll find one, but look for it. Don't just don't go for less if it does not make you happy. If it does, oh please stay. Like, you don't have to feel pressured that you have to do everything in the world. If staying in a small town doing a small thing makes you happy, please do. That is
mm.
incredible if it does make you happy. Don't feel pressured. Never. I always say
It's
don't listen.
your version of happy is the important thing. You're happy with what you're
Absolutely.
doing. Yeah,
Ask yourself, what is it that's making you happy? And then,
very
as I
powerful.
said, don't listen to other people who tell you otherwise. It helped me. People will tell you always only, something from their own perspective, from their own unaccomplishment, or their own jealousy or something. People who made it, actually, or people who are happy, going to tell you just do what makes you happy. They're not gonna tell you stick with one job. They're not gonna tell you you have to do something.
I think when you meet someone who's truly happy, you don't always realize that person has been unhappy a fair few times to find out what makes them happy eventually. And that you don't always find happiness first time, but you've got to have the strength and courage to keep exploring your own happiness and to keep looking for it. And don't settle. Don't settle if it's not making you happy.
Yes.
But you're right. When you find it, enjoy it. Be there. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yes. Definitely
Well, that
realize that that's the thing that makes you happy. Keep it
mm,
until
well,
it does. If it doesn't, carry on. Don't be afraid.
doing it.
Go on
Get
life.
on that plane. Get on that plane.
Please
Find
do.
a new life,
Please
and
do.
please do. Well, we've spent over an hour together, and before the show we were chatting away as well, and no doubt we'll probably chat some more before we hang up. But I mean, that's been amazing. It's been really great to get to know you, to learn about the person, the man behind the text, the words, the songs. I've found your website, which is Ryals Official. It's RYALS official.com. And I've just been on it. I'm having a look. It's got your album cover there or your song cover. You can listen to the track, and it's you can download it, buy it. Got behind the scenes, so people can find out more about you as well. And there's some great stuff there. So yeah,
Thank you.
if you're listening, visit rylesofficial.com. It'll be in the show notes. And you're big on Instagram as well, aren't you? Have you got an Instagram account as well?
Yes, it's Ryals official as well.
What?
Made it clear. My friend was joking about it. It's like, oh, you're official now. Like,
Yeah.
totally am. Ryals RY.
That's your married name, is it? Official's your married name, yeah.
Oh yeah. Now it's all official. It's not playing around. Yes, please find me on Instagram. And if you have any questions or, you know, just want to share your story, please do. I always try to answer everybody. I love getting to know new people, and I have so many people around the world that, started as a like, oh, hi, I love your pictures, to right now it's like, how's your career going? I'm asking them or they asking me, and just like chatting about life and their experiences, their pain, their so much. And we are so different but so the same. It's crazy how we are. And if we speak the language of love or kindness, we're totally the same and going through the same things. And I love, 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 love getting to know people from each and every part of the world. That makes it so, our huge planet cozy and small.
Looking at the website, I mean, there's some really powerful photographs of you on stage, some beautiful lighting, beautiful costumes, and you look incredible in all of them.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God.
So,
thank you so much.
if nothing else, go and just check out Ryan's abs.
Oh my God. Thank you.
So yeah, there's some great shots there. So yeah, listen to the music, follow Ryals on Instagram, and check out Ryals' website. There's some great artistic talent there. It looks like you've been in Cats or something, because you're wearing a furry suit in one of the shots. So
One of the numbers was from Tom Tugger.
Yeah. So there's some great stuff there. So no, go and check it out. So Ryals, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Audience, thank you for listening. Thank you for staying with us. A huge thank you for getting this far. It's been inspirational for myself. So if you're listening, please do subscribe to keep updated on future episodes of the Inclusion Bites podcast. That's BITES. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues, and ask them to subscribe as well. I've got a number of other exciting guests lined up that I'm sure you'll be equally inspired by over the next few weeks and months. And of course, if you'd like to be a guest, if you're listening in, you'd like to take part, then please do. You don't have to be a global music superstar to come on the show. You could have a dream. You can be finding your happiness, and you want to share that. So I welcome any suggestions and feedback you may have to jo.lockwood@teachingchapman.co.uk. That's jo.lockwood@teachingchapman.co.uk. Tell me about future shows. Tell me how we can improve. So finally, all there is to say is my name is Joanne Lockwood, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be your host today for this podcast. Catch you next time. Bye.